Stupak yield? He's my guest again now. Congressman, thank you so much for coming here on America Live.
Good afternoon.
All right, so let's begin with that. Are you wavering at all? Are you still a no vote?
No, I'm a no vote.
And is there anybody still reaching out to you?
We've had good discussions the last 24 hours, but no agreements, no compromises. Discussions are ongoing. I'm sure they'll be ongoing right up till time of the vote.
Who speaks to you?
Oh, well, you know, Chairman Waxman and I, the bill came through, the health bill came through our committee. I'm on the Energy and Commerce Committee. So he's sort of like the designated spokesperson. I've spoken with Majority Leader Hoyer. I've spoken to the last 24 hours to the Speaker. So we have conversations.
What does Nancy Pelosi tell you? Is she willing to bend at all on the abortion language?
Well, we've had good discussions about, is a refundable tax credit a subsidy from the federal government or not? Is abortion really covered in the bill? I believe it is. Page 2070, it's very clear that abortion is, for the first time ever, a funded benefit by the federal government. So, I mean, we have those discussions back and forth, and then we go back and forth and say, they say, why are you doing this? I'm saying, it's not me, it's the majority of my district, it's the majority of Americans, it's what the will of the House was when we ran our amendment last fall, is 240 to 194. It's this House has spoken. Why can't we just resolve this language and have no public funding for abortion in this legislation?
And what's their answer to that?
That they think the bill is fine and it doesn't provide public funding for abortion. I respectfully disagree with them on that issue, and we go back and forth a little bit. And I suggest different procedures, how we might be able to do it, and the answer will be, well, it can't get 60 votes in the Senate, or this can't happen, or that can't happen. And I would remind the Speaker or Chairman Waxman, in the past, under similar circumstances, we put abortion funding in reconciliation bills, and sometimes it passes, sometimes it doesn't. I would rather try to work with the Senate to get something done, but you know, just to say simply it can't be done, that's not good enough for me. Let's try. I'd rather try and fail than not have tried at all to strike out this abortion funding that they have in this Senate bill under the Nelson language.
You know, we played on this show last Friday and then again on Monday a conversation, an interview you gave to a radio station in which you relayed a conversation you had with Henry Waxman, the congressman you just mentioned. And you said in that radio interview that he had told you that the Democrats doing this bill want to fund abortion. And you pushed back and said, well, no, let's just keep current law. And he said, no, we want to change it. We want to fund abortion. Is that what happened between you and Congressman Waxman?
Well, I've had many conversations with many members, and we can agree on many parts of the bill. Then we get right down to it. Right down to the final line is no public funding for abortion, call it a direct federal subsidy or a tax credit. And they keep coming back and saying, but we need this part in the bill because Nelson allows it. And I said, but that's not the will of the American people or the House of Representatives. We should not have public funding for abortion. And so we can break away all the side issues, but when it comes right down to it, there's no doubt in my mind that the Democratic majority would like to see public funding for abortion. And we're standing up to that for our principles and that of the American people, and said, no, we can't restrict a woman's right to choose. We're not trying to do that, but just don't ask us to pay for the service that we find reprehensible. You
know, but they come back and they say we're not paying for abortion. I had Anthony Weiner, a Democrat, on my show last week, and he maintained very strongly that the Senate bill just maintains current law. It maintains the Hyde Amendment, which bans public funding for abortion except in very specific cases like rape or incest, and that's all the Senate bill does. There is no public funding for abortion in that bill. Does he misstate the case?
Misstate the case, and I don't mean that. Anthony's a friend of mine, and I've pointed out repeatedly, whether it's leadership or members, here's where it is. It's found on page 237, the refundable tax credit that you use that goes from the federal government to the exchange to pay for your insurance policy that covers abortion. And for the first time ever, if you go to page 2070, for the first time ever, abortion is a recognized benefit in this health care package. Those are two of many ways you fund abortion or provide the coverage in this health care bill under the Senate language. Remember, when we did our amendment in November, we struck all that language. It's very similar to Lois Capps' amendment. Lois Capps, the one who injected abortion into the whole health care debate. And our amendment that the majority of the House approved struck all that language and said simply, no public funding for abortion, no public funding for tax credits for abortion. That's always been a policy of the United States. That's where we want to keep it. The leadership has also said, and President and others, that they'd like to keep the current law. I've given them current law. I've given them 8 different options. Here are the 8 different pieces of legislation where there's a prohibition of funding for abortion. The federal government cannot fund abortions. You pick the one of the 8 you want. Let's stick it in the bill, and we'll be all set. Just use current law.
Yeah, and that has not gone anywhere for you. Congressman, stand by, because I want to talk to you about
Sure.
the White House's effort to peel off some of the so-called Stupak dozen who stood with you on this bill originally. And we're just getting some latest information in on perhaps one other person who may be changing his vote. So I'm going to go back to the congressman about that right after the break. Stay tuned.